Scary and bizarre images of foreign cultures often make for sensational headlines. It is easy to create prejudice from the fear of the unknown.
Our media are waiting for the big showdown between Islam and Christianity.
All the informal media, I think this is how to handle hoax and all these things, and they are dangerous and they can be focused, evoke emotions and so.
The picture that was presented by Deutsche Welle is one-sided, which is of course a tiny minority who are not representative of Indonesian Islam. Yeah?
Aceh is the westernmost province of Indonesia. Aceh's partial implementation of Sharia is a result of the Helsinki Agreement back in 2005, which was mediated by the European Union to establish peace between the government of Indonesia and the Free Aceh movement. With a 98% Muslim population, Aceh is often associated with a strong Islamic identity. However, religious minorities continue to coexist with the Muslim majority while practicing their faith freely and without discrimination.
Aceh is a very unusual situation and part of an island, half of an island in Indonesia. Indonesia is an extremely vast country with more islands than any other country in the world. And you will find Catholic islands and Hindu islands and all kinds of islands. And Aceh is really an exception. It came late into Indonesia with already a very conservative Islam that does not represent the Islam in the rest of the whole republic, and there have been violent times. And the situation in Aceh goes back to the peace treaty, which gives Aceh a lot of special rights that other parts of the country do not have. And what people forget is the moderator of this peace treaty was the European Union. Yeah? And it was the European Union that, I have studied this in detail, the European Union that had this idea to grant them the strict Sharia to be used if the parliaments vote to it, and some days later the parliament voted in favor of it. And it is only because of this peace treaty and this history that the central government of Indonesia just cannot change the situation. If this would be in another part of the country, probably the situation for long would have been changed. Yeah?
Saya tidak pernah mendapat berita dari gereja Katolik di Aceh bahwa mereka mengalami kesulitan di dalam kehidupan maupun di dalam beribadat sebagai Katolik. Di Banda Aceh itu gereja di seberang sungai, tidak begitu jauh dari masjid besar. Saya dulu tinggal di situ waktu diundang HMI untuk bicara, tidak ada masalah. Jadi itu harus dilihat. Di Indonesia lain, toleransi beragama, saya selalu membuat perbedaan. Karena selalu ada perbandingan internasional. Saya baru dapat satu dari Jerman juga, di mana umum dikatakan misalnya toleransi di Indonesia itu tidak baik, orang diancam. Saya selalu membantah.
The Helsinki Agreement of 2005 gave the opportunity for the Acehnese to determine whether or not to have their own bylaws, which are based on Islamic law. These are called qanon, derived from an Arabic word for canon or law. However, Aceh continues to be home to its religious minorities who are free to live and worship according to their own religious identity.
Tempat menerima tempat ibadah ini sudah zaman dahulu, sebelum Indonesia merdeka, sudah tahun 1938 sudah ada keberadaannya. Nah, jadi kalau saya di sini selalu kegiatan dengan umat saya keterbatasan, kawan-kawan saya sini selalu mendukung. Saya pun ada kegiatan di masjid, istilahnya maulid juga, saya datang membantu, jadi kawan-kawan partisipasinya ada ke kita. Kita toleransinya di Aceh ini ya, saya bilang, maupun di kampung saya sendiri toleransinya cukup bagus.
Pemerintahan gimana Pak?
Pemerintahan sangat baik, tidak ada anak tirikan, semua baik semuanya, selalu ada bantuan kami. Sampai sekarang tidak ada pembedaan, sangat baik.
Gimana gitu?
Tapi bagi saya tidak ada pengaruh buruk, kita harus menyesuaikan diri. Itu saja. Kita keluar pakaian sopan, rapi, nyaman, kita nggak ada ditegur kan. Kalau pakaian kita nggak sopan semua kan ditegur. Kan itu saja. Nah.
Boleh ceritakan Pak, apakah di agama Bapak sendiri yang disesuaikan dari kanon itu ada?
Ada, kami pakaiannya sopan, cuma pakaian baju tangan lengan segini. Nah, pakai selendang itu sila bisa tutup kepala.
Semuanya hampir mirip lah.
Mirip, sama lah, kebersamaan di tiap agama semua ada kebaikannya, semua yang dihajarin.
Kalau kehidupan umat beragama sangat baik. Sangat baik di Banda Aceh, di Melabu, ya, di Sabang, di Aceh Tamiang, di Langsa, di Singkil. Nah, kalau sekiranya ada hal-hal yang saya anggap ini kita anggap bisa mengusik keharmonian kita, mengusik persaudaraan, mengusik hubungan kebangsaan, ya kita dialog.
Contrary to the images often portrayed by Western media, such as Deutsche Welle, locals from various minority backgrounds share their experience of living in Aceh and their ability to practice their faith.
Menurut aku gini, kalau bagi aku sendiri, kita balik lagi ke istilah toleransi. Apa yang dimaksud toleransi? Jadi ketika di daerah yang mayoritas muslim, non-muslim masih bisa beribadah dengan tenang tanpa diganggu sama muslim, itu sudah toleransi.
The long history of coexistence between religious beliefs in Aceh has prevailed over time. Data from 2020 shows that in Aceh, there are approximately 70,000 Christians, over 7,300 Buddhists, and a small number of Hindus as well as other faith groups.
Pemikiran kalau dibilang Aceh tuh orang luar nih, pasti mikirnya kayak kita harus berjilbab, terus harus sopan, harus ya muslim banget lah gitu. Terus ya gitu, terus dapat. Cuman sampai sini tuh ternyata nggak diwajibkan untuk berjilbab toh, masih ada gereja. Karena kan nggak ada tuntutan juga untuk harus pakai jilbab. Cuman karena kita tahu ini daerahnya dengan statusnya seperti ini gitu kan, syariat Islam, ya kita mengikutin aja, bajunya lebih sopan. Pas belakangan ini kali ya, pas bulan-bulan dari bulan 11 lah gitu. Karena udah sempat jalan-jalan ke Sabang gitu. Kalau sebelumnya kan emang belum pernah kemana-mana. Terus ke Sabang, terus mulai keluar, mulai belanja, mulai olahraga, mulai apa. Nah ternyata itu emang benar-benar nggak ada perbedaan gitu. Nggak ada yang jauhin, nggak ada yang ngomongin gitu. Jadi malu, berasa nyamannya, oh ya udah.
kami walaupun minoritas, ya, baik dari masyarakat sebagai minoritas ataupun sebagai minoritas dalam keyakinan. Tapi kami itu hidupnya itu sangat rukun antara umat beragama lain, ya. Itu sudah sangat baik. Itu dari dulu. Jadi dari saya lahir sampai setua sekarang udah 70 tahun, ya, kita menjalankan ritual agama di wihara dan sebagainya. Itu nggak pernah ada masalah.
The most prominent temples in Aceh, including its most important Buddhist temple, are located in Penayong, Banda Aceh, which is something of Aceh's own Chinatown.
Walaupun kita tahu di Aceh ini menerapkan syariat Islam, tapi kami yang non-muslim itu tetap beribadah dengan baik, dengan lancar, dan tidak ada halangan maupun gangguan apapun, tidak ada. Dari pemerintah juga bagus dari seperti contohnya misalnya dari Kementerian Agama, ya, pembinaan mereka ke wihara-wihara juga bagus, komunikasi bagus, ya, tidak ada diskriminasi atau apa, nggak ada. Ya, namanya menjalankan hukum agama kan pasti membawa kebaikan. Dari kami non-muslim itu merasa terlindungi juga kan. Nah, ya seperti itu Pak, kalau misalnya untuk kanun atau peraturan itu nggak ada berbenturan. Ya kita ikuti aja semua, ya mudah-mudahan selama ini damai, semua ini bisa diterima lah semua.
Jadi di tempat saya kerja pun saya nggak dipaksa menggunakan jilbab. Tidak pernah seumur hidup saya dipaksa menggunakan jilbab. Tapi kalau saya menawarkan diri karena kadang-kadang mewakili pariwisata kayak gitu, yang saya wakili wisata halal, ya saya sesuaikan. Jadi tampil bukan identitas sebagai diri saya, tapi mewakili bidang ini kayak gitu. Kalau saya misalnya kerja, pulang kerja, berkegiatan ke gereja, di sini juga bebas. Saya bisa ngajar kursus kayak gitu. Di sini saya mengajar paduan suara juga, bukan di gereja, tapi di sekolah-sekolah.
Some public figures share their positive views on Islam and the implementation of Sharia in Aceh, as well as on the state of interreligious relations in Indonesia as a whole.
Talking about Kanun in Aceh, or the implementation of Sharia of Aceh version, yeah, of course, we should distinguish, differentiate two kind of Islamic law in Indonesia. The first one is Sharia, that is basically verses of the Quran relating to law, and then this should be detailed, should be elaborated into Islamic jurisprudence called fiqh, and in Aceh it is called kanun. Yeah. So initially in the first years of the implementation of Sharia, some people have been very nervous. Yeah. Not only in Aceh, but also in some other places in Indonesia, because it could encourage other areas in Indonesia to also adopt Islamic law. Yeah, and of course that's the fact. In the early 2000s, several districts or cities adopted the so-called Syariah by law, yeah, or peraturan daerah. But according to the, I think to the research done by a scholar, American scholar, 5 years ago, the adoption of Sharia by law has decreased significantly in many places, in many districts, and I think there is no many, probably, I don't know, in the last 1 or 2 years, there is no Sharia by laws adopted by local parliament in the district and cities. That's also the case in Aceh itself. I think also the momentum for implementation of Kanun or Sharia, I think has been losing momentum. So I think people in Aceh, Muslim in Aceh, now are more relaxed. I think they are more flexible, even though they, of course, still. We implement Islamic law, we implement Sharia or Kanun, but the situation in Aceh now is not as strict as one could imagine. Yeah? Of course, we talk about people in general. If you talk to only certain Islamists, like interviewed by Dutch Well, they of course maintain that the canon should be implemented strictly. But I don't think that Aceh provincial government now very interested in strict implementation of canon in Aceh.
To make Islamic law state law is precisely against Pancasila. Pancasila, we have ketuhanan yang Maha Esa, belief in one divinity. This was specifically formulated on August the 18th, 1945 in the preamble of our constitution to make sure that the constitutional structure of Indonesia is not determined by one religion. Thus, I think introducing the Sharia would be against Pancasila, but I do not see too many groups that want to have it.
Dan kalau merujuk kepada sejarah, perkembangan keberagaman di sini memang sudah tercipta sejak masa lalu. Satu contoh yang bisa saya sebutkan, di Penayong sini, mayoritas penduduknya 85% itu adalah warga keturunan Tionghoa. Dan di Penayong ini ada vihara, ada gereja, ini masuk di wilayah Penayong. Kekatolikan di Aceh, di Banda Aceh, sudah berumur kurang lebih 378 tahun. Sejak saat itu sampai dengan hari ini, kami merasakan bahwa masyarakat di sini dengan berbagai etnis yang ada di sini, semuanya hidup berdampingan. Di sekolah kami juga ada guru-guru yang Muslim, ada guru Kristen, ada yang Katolik. Belum lagi murid-muridnya. Ada yang Buddha, ada yang Kristen, ada yang Katolik. Nah, itu sudah menunjukkan bahwa di dalam lingkungan yang tidak begitu besar, kita tetap saling menghargai.
It is one country that has easily as many Muslims in the country than otherwise 20 Muslim countries taken all together. And historically, this Islam always has taken a different road. So it's not a new thing that the Indonesians did find their way back to democracy and to a state that allows religions to live in freedom is not a new development that really goes back historically for a long time. That the Indonesian Islam always has been much more tolerant. It has been tolerant in times when Indonesia, after the Second World War, was not a direct democracy.
Indonesia is a culturally, ethnically, and religiously diverse nation. The ways Indonesia's population live together in harmony is, however, not always represented accordingly by the media.
First of all, we appreciate the report of Dutch Well on religious life in Indonesia, basically, because we still need more reports on Indonesia for international audience, because there is still lack of report on Indonesia, particularly on religious life. So in that respect, we appreciate that. But of course, we need to give some notes. Yeah, the first one is the title is the zero tolerance of the report. Yeah, I think this is exaggerated. Yeah, a kind of exaggeration of the situation in Indonesia, as if there is no tolerance now in Indonesia.
The media rarely were a means to create peace. They don't live on peace. Yeah, so they don't report that some people live peacefully together. Yeah, they don't put a page there, 10 steps how to be nice to your neighbor. Yeah, and that means that when we come to religions, I have said this in our parliament in a hearing, and people were upset and said, what about the freedom of press? Yeah, I said, our media are waiting for the big showdown between Islam and Christianity. They wish there would be a crusade again, and the two sides would get into war. Yeah, and they are not happy they don't get it. Yeah, and a typical example is that, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, insane pastor in the US said he would burn a Quran. In the end, this guy never burned the Quran. He only said he would burn the Quran, and people kept him from doing it. Yeah, nobody ever would have known about this. Yeah, but the media made this a world affair.
Salahnya media dapat narasumber yang memang pandangan ke Acehnya nggak toleransi gitu. Jadi ketika kita berbicara umum, berbicara masyarakat banyak, susah untuk kita mewujudkan semua keinginan masyarakat itu. Misal, ya kan? Kita ke satu daerah. Kebetulan kita jumpa orang yang memang agak jumpa penjahat lah, misal, jumpa penjahat. Udah kita klaim bahwa negara itu gak aman. Padahal itu oknum. Misal kita dicopet misal gitu di bus. Udah kita bilang gak aman tuh, ngapain ke negara tuh? Gak aman gitu. Padahal semua yang lain enggak. Nah, gitu. Mungkin menurut saya lebih ke itu. Jangan nilai dari situ. Kita lihat lah yang banyak-banyak nih orang aman-aman aja kok bolak-balik ke Aceh.
Contrasting between judgmental media portrayal and reality, the question remains: to what extent is Indonesian diversity really under threat? Archbishop Professor Dr. Thomas Schermacher thinks that it is a rather delicate task for the government and for many Indonesians to accommodate all diversity within the nation.
Well, I mean, if we talk about the question whether government always does the right thing, probably in a democracy there's no government where every citizen will be happy about everything they do. But if I look at the situation that you have parties in the country that are want to go for a Muslim Islamic state, following the example of, say, Saudi Arabia, you see it's a democracy. So if you want to become president or get a seat in the party, you have to be voted. You just cannot state this is the right thing. You have to be voted. And you have mainly voters that are Muslims. Then it is not an easy task in Indonesia to control any Muslim groups that further terrorism or, say, burn a church or whatever happens. Yeah. And in this situation, I'm really amazed that the Indonesian government, that the president, that the different ministers constantly call for tolerance and peace and go for it. I'll tell you a story that we were in Abu Dhabi and we had a huge interreligious dialogue meeting. And the United Arab Emirates had invited Indonesian theologians. We were there. And they were seeking, is there a way to live peacefully with, well, they only spoke about Christians and Jews. They were not so far to go beyond, yeah? So, so they were sharing some ideas, we could do this, yeah? So I got up and I said, I mean, you are looking for a lot of ideas how you could do this. Why don't you just take the example of Indonesia? ask them how they do it, and you just do the same in Saudi Arabia and United Emirates. That was fun. I mean, people. I mean, the Indonesians clapped. The Indonesians that were there, they clapped. Yeah. Somewhere, and I found out that even many Muslim governments, and especially those who really would like to change something, are not aware how different Indonesia is. Yeah, they well, in the beginning, some were under shock what I said there, but then we got into a very good discussion. So, and if they are looking for valid theology that backs even a modern democracy, Muslim theology that backs a modern democracy, well, they should go to Indonesia and learn it there.
I should say that religious life in Indonesia is more healthy, yeah? Healthier than more peaceful compared to Europe, in certain countries in Europe. Let's say if you look at, for instance, the strong Islamophobia, yeah, in many countries in Europe, I think you cannot find such feeling in Indonesia. Of course, again, there are small groups, tiny groups, who have strong orientation to the Middle East, yeah, to Arab countries, but still they are not representative of Indonesian Muslim as a general. I believe that Indonesian Islam is still moderate Islam. I call it as a smiling Islam, not harsh Islam, rigid Islam as you can find somewhere else, not only in the Middle East, but also even among Muslim migrants in Germany or in France or in the UK, for instance. In general, Indonesian Muslims are very flexible. They adhere to what I call as a colorful Islam, yeah, accommodative Islam, tolerant Islam. So that's why some our European colleagues are quite surprising why Indonesia is not based on Islam, but rather on Pancasila. Why? Because Muslims are majority. Around 87% of Indonesia's 270 million people now are Muslims. But still, Indonesia is not based on Islam, nor Islam is the official religion of the state. If you compare to some countries in Europe, these countries are based on certain religion. Yeah, so this is one of the example, I think, good example. The tolerance among Indonesian is still strong, going strong in Indonesia today.
Testimonies from both prominent public figures as well as Aceh's local population strongly indicate the existence of not only interreligious tolerance but also harmony in Aceh and in Indonesia. Unity in diversity continues to be the country's underlying principle as the world's largest Muslim majority democracy. At the end of the day, direct immersion remains the best way to experience tolerance and harmony in Indonesia.
Mungkin lebih tepatnya tunggu saya kaya mungkin ya. Saya kirimkan sesuatu tiket itu saya undang ke Aceh. Gitu. Biar dia lihat sendiri. Oke. Orang kalau kita ngomongin ini itu memang agak susah. Dia harus lihat sendiri.
Teman-teman yang berada di luar Aceh, sekali-sekali datanglah ke Aceh. Kita melihat sendiri, kita merasakan sendiri bagaimana kehidupan beragama di Aceh sudah terjalin dengan baik.
Datanglah ke Aceh dan alami sendiri situasi pesan paling penting. Karena ketika kita hanya melihat dari kejauhan, hanya menilai secara sepihak, maka penilaian kita pun akan tidak objektif.